Hello, folks, and we have to talk about the one thing that may destroy a pre-election pump might be coming. According to sources that shall not be named, actually you can see it on all the news channels, Israel has finished formulating their plan to strike back at Iran. And that could be a definite problem because that means escalation. Iran has said that they will strike back in kind if Israel strikes them, so we're not in a very good position here at all. And the strike will happen before Election Day because Netanyahu probably wants to drag the election in Trump's favor before Elections Day, and also they want more of an imminent attack. So they're planning to respond to this month's Iranian attack, and U.S. officials expect it to happen before the U.S. presidential election, which is less than 3 weeks. Israeli officials have assured the U.S. that the counterstrike would be limited to military targets rather than oil or nuclear facilities. So that's why we've been going up the last 2 days, because we know that they're not going to strike oil or nuclear facilities, but they will strike military targets. But that will prompt a response from Iran, although not a very big one. Now, I can tell that they don't really want to go out into full-out war because both sides are basically telegraphing to the other side, hey, we're going to strike you, so be ready. That is not really a declaration of war, because if you were really going to want war against someone, you wouldn't tell them when you were going to strike them. When the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, Admiral Yamamoto didn't phone FDR and be like, hey, be careful, we're going to strike Pearl Harbor, in December on this day, and we're going to send this many carriers to actually do it. Now, FDR might have actually known because we actually intercepted their message, but the Japanese didn't actually tell them. They just struck without provocation, and then the U.S. essentially declared war. So these are kind of we're going to tell you how we're going to strike and what we're going to strike beforehand, so the damage isn't too great. But either way, a lot of people will see this as further escalation to the Middle Eastern crisis, and some people will probably panic sell, even though, all the news sources have actually basically been foreshadowing this for a long time, and the most pertinent targets won't actually be struck, which means oil probably won't go up in price, but fear of massive escalation between Israel and Iran in the Middle East, at least pre-election, will definitely dampen some spirits. And we might go back down to about 63, 64K for a little while before we come back up. I think after the election, the Middle Eastern thing will kind of die down because if Netanyahu wants Trump to be president, after November 5th, he's either president or he's not. He can't really help that afterwards. So that kind of political calculus will kind of be out the window. And plus, since they're not striking oil or nuclear targets, I think the Iranian response, if there is one, will be much more limited, and then it'll kind of peter down after that. So we're doing really good right now on this. Israel is probably going to continue to attack Hezbollah, but Hezbollah isn't going to participate in a massive regional war. Iran is not going to fight to the death for their proxy, and Israel has been pwning Hezbollah pretty hard recently, so it's kind of a one-sided conflict. But either way, we might be in for a little bit of a dip. Wouldn't worry too much, but probably just hang on afterwards. Maybe a couple thousand points, maybe 2,000-3,000 points when Israel counter strikes. I don't know if the market's actually priced it in because it really hasn't gone down recently in the last few days. But I would expect it to revive up fairly quickly because these aren't critical targets that Iran would want massive retaliation for. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.